Insomnia is directed by Christopher Nolan and it stars Al Pacino, Hilary Swank, and someone else who's quite a big actor, but I don't want to spoil it for you, I'll get into that later. And essentially Insomnia tells the story of Al Pacino's character, who's a very well-known, respected detective who is sent to a small town in Alaska with his partner to solve a murder case. And one of the things that sets this film apart from every other detective thriller of its genre is the fact that the location that the film takes place in is, again, a small town in Alaska, but it never gets dark. I believe this film takes place in the summer, and during that time, the town never ever gets dark. It's always light. That actually makes the film a lot more special. And this is probably, in my opinion, one of Christopher Nolan's most underrated movies, because this is an absolutely brilliant, unconventional, and special and different psychological thriller, detective thriller. Let's start off with what I really liked about this film, which is the way that Nolan directs the film. The way Christopher Nolan directs this film is extremely different and extremely unique because unlike your conventional detective thrillers like, I don't know, let's say Seven, which I think is one of the best detective thrillers, if not the best detective thriller of all time, this film feels very different in the way that it's structured, in the way that the characters work. Because normally in detective films, you find out who the killer is towards the end, whereas in this film it's a little bit different. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but again, it's done in a very different way, and it actually highlights different aspects of the detective genre. Al Pacino in this film is absolutely brilliant, absolutely Oscar-worthy. He gives one of the best performances I've seen from an actor who I really respect. Also, Hilary Swank is in this film. She was also very good. She plays sort of like a protege type character, and I absolutely love her performance in this film. And also, there's a certain actor in this film who I won't really spoil for you, but he was so good in this film. And his performance and his character really contributed so much to the film, and I love that. But Al Pacino's character is someone who I think is so well fleshed out, and also this film does a really good job of showing you certain things in the film, sort of starting off certain storylines and completing them in a really satisfying and non-pretentious way. And a lot of that is related to Al Pacino's character, because as the film progresses, you start to learn more and more about this guy who may or may not be as good as people think he is. And you actually start to see his dark side, and you see so much, and you see his vulnerable side as well, which is so great. Also, this is an absolutely gorgeous film. It's one of Nolan's best looking films. The opening credits alone just show you how beautiful the film is. It's set in Alaska and there's so much trees and mountains and it looks gorgeous. Also, Nolan does a really good job of making us feel a sense of paranoia and uncertainty in this film, because we're in a small town, there may or may not be a killer, and it's actually surprisingly really intense. Even though the film is 2 hours long and it is quite slowly paced, but there is actually a feeling of intensity to the film that I didn't expect going into it. Also, the action in this film, although minimal, I would say is actually surprisingly well done. There's this one certain scene that I won't spoil for you because it's brilliant. It's sort of like a chase scene and it involves logs. Once you see the film, if you see the film, which I do recommend you see, you're gonna love that scene. And also, the film is called Insomnia simply because the characters, because it doesn't get dark and stuff, the characters, especially Al Pacino's character, doesn't really get enough sleep. And for the duration of the movie and the duration of the case, his character starts to get like a little bit more tired and a little bit more weary, and that actually shows in the way that the film is cut together. Because at first the film is very slow and very calm and cool and collected, and then after a while, towards the end, it starts to get a lot more fast-paced and picks up the pace a lot. Also, I think this film reminds me a lot of No Country for Old Men, and Insomnia reminds me of that film because, in No Country for Old Men, in the first 2 acts, there's this MacGuffin type thing that, it's kind of like a cat and mouse chase, and they're trying to get this one thing, but by the end of it, it really doesn't matter. Same thing with Insomnia. They're trying to solve a case, they're trying to do this, but at the end, you find out that there's something a lot larger and a lot more important at play, and I really like that aspect of the film. My only problem with the film is that I think the ending, the final act, essentially the final scene, doesn't really fit with everything else the film was trying to be. But I just think that last maybe 10 minutes didn't feel cohesive and didn't feel like it could fit with the rest of the film. But aside from that, Insomnia is an absolutely brilliant, different and special and extremely underrated detective thriller, and I'm going to give Insomnia an A. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you.